Hello there. Well, today I will share some experience on a very important topic for me because, there are so many people nowadays that are always saying your time is now, you have to grind now. Now is your moment. You don't have to rest, you don't have to really chill. You can chill, but only, for example, nighttime you can go to a party, etc., etc. But only when you have done your work for the day, when you have grinded more than yesterday, etc., etc. This is actually a good plan to start with, maybe, but well, believe me, it's more. It's targeting more the young people who don't really have experience in how life works, because actually there are those few that can grind, for example, for 20 years without stopping. And if you are one of them, you may actually try this, but it's not for everyone, not at all, and it's not meant to be like that. The balance between a relaxed state of mind, a relaxed body, etc., and work with some efficiency to create and build to always be better than the one you were yesterday. Well, that's very important actually. I totally appreciate it when you are balancing your work with your relax, with your, for example, you have to sleep, because some are actually, well, believing no sleep mode as something literal. Well, you can sleep a bit less, and there are so many practices you have to adapt to that regime first. That's very important also. That's how the human body, the whole human being is is working. Actually, it's not that simple. Just say I will not sleep, and you start grinding. After 20 years, you're on the top of the world, and that's like, very likely to happen. Well, no, it's not like that, and the big problem in that is, I'm seeing, in the big picture, is that most of those people who are telling you this are actually very, so to say, well, dedicated to their relaxation. They're literally going to different procedures, to relaxing in hotels, with some, help of some specialist in that sphere of, for example, um, spa therapist, or for example, gurus, some yoga instructors, and so on and so on, coaches, different type, who actually are guiding them how to relax more efficiently with less time spent to relax. They're actually making big progress, and progress is not the word, maybe, it's not the right word in this situation. They're making some, they're adapting to that regime when they can actually work more and relax less, but they're still efficient in that relaxation. For example, if you meditate fully, for example, for 4 hours a day, it could be better than 8 hours of sleep. But well, this is happening with much practice. You have to spend years in meditation to understand how those things work for yourself, because it's literally individual. It's not the same for everyone. So you have to, well, practice much, and also you have to understand the logic. How does it work? And once again, how does it work, especially for yourself. So it's not that simple. Just go grind your young years, because maybe around 30 you have serious problems if you are just dedicated to grinding hard. It's very important to grind. Don't take me wrong. You have to. You need to. It's the world nowadays. You have to be conquering. You have to eventually, not for everyone, of course, but if you're that kind of person, when you know that your ambitions, well, are important for you, and you have to try to accomplish your dreams, because no one else will for yourself. But on the other hand, I tell you, you have to find the best way to relax, to balance relaxation with work. And that's a milestone in your journey, because if you grind hard, maybe you have some good years, maybe not. It's not even for everyone. You will have some confidence eventually if you grind the right way, so to say. If you are training, for example, 4 hours a day, working for some money, it doesn't matter. If you are working for yourself, for example, you have a company, or you're working with some friends, or you're a freelancer, or even an employee, which is the worst case scenario, uh, as, at least in my opinion. But anyways, it doesn't so much matter um, which way you have chosen, or you had to choose. It doesn't, that's not important also. But it's really important that you balance. For example, then you're working 8 to 10 hours, then you're training, for example, from 2 to 4 hours a day. That's too much training, for example. Believe me, you have some experience in that. For example, like 20 years experience, and I know I'm literally training every day, but I'm not dedicated to training too hard. I had days, for example, 24 hours of training with something like 4 or 5 only little breaks, because I'm practicing some martial arts, and we had some camps which were hard mode, and I wanted to be in my best shape, and I didn't understand the relaxation, or at least I had this adrenaline which was well, pushing me through my, well, uh, hardness, and I was feeling better. But anyways, I never actually stopped understanding that even a little bit relaxation is crucial for your, for every part of your life, because, well, um, it's the time when you can actually start processing that information. It doesn't matter what you have done. For example, you have grinded for weeks with so less sleep than the usual, then that you're feeling kind of dizzy. But yeah, kind of, well, you're proud of yourself for what you've done, but you're even kind of dizzy because you have slept, for example, for from one whole week you have, for example, slept for, well, 12 hours, and you have made a lot of money. It's cool. Maybe that will help you, but at this very moment, you have made money, and that's fantastic. But on the other hand, you haven't really um, well, meditated on how to spend that money, how to invest them, how to be more efficient, for example, or even not more efficient, but how to spend them the right way, the way you wanna actually choose. That's your personal choice. You have to retrospect, and relaxation is helping you so much with that. You can eventually try active meditation. For example, you're training and you're meditating at the same time, but it's not the same. Even if you're, for example, uh, well, training for years, and you don't really mind meditating while training, you really are comfortable with that, still you have to have some not doing in your life. It is very important, even if it's for just few hours a week, but at least a few hours. At least, for example, 3 or 4 hours. You have to fully meditate, fully well, how to say it, fully well expel to literally make yourself feel out of this world, for to look from another angle, to be out of your body, to see the what you're doing as a different person, because that's how you actually reflect on yourself. You understand what you're doing, and is this really the thing you want to be doing, and is this the right way, and can you maintain that regime, for example. So um, what I'm trying to say is that you cannot always do. You have to understand the art of not doing. You have to be static for at least a few hours a week. I have, of course, some guidance to give, and I will at some point, but it's up to you. First of all, you have to decide for yourself how to do it, what will it take, etc., etc. But you have to do it. Do it now. Think about that. It's some of the most important things in life. If you're trying to get really um, on a higher state, if you're trying to lift yourself up, you literally have to balance the relaxation and the work part. And by saying work, I mean every kind of work. It doesn't matter if you're training, literally working for some money, working on yourself, etc. etc. Especially if you're working on yourself. For example, building your character, trying to understand more about yourself, and trying to relate that to some already known practices. Well, the reason is not the main. I mean, it doesn't matter how exactly are you trying to make yourself a better person, be closer to your perfect self, your most well, your best version, the best version of yourself, etc. But if you're trying to do that, you need even a little bit more meditation, because understanding who you are, it's not made by doing, and there are so many people that are for hours trying to do different things to understand which thing they're doing the best, and they try to build their orientation on how the things work and how they're trying to reach their goals, they reach their higher self, they reach their the best version of their selves. But if they don't really relax enough, if they don't really take time to meditate, it will be so much harder, and they'll lose time for that, from that process. If you're always trying to grind but never trying to relax, at some point you'll break, and that's a fact. Your body will break, your mind will break. You start having some problems, some signals from your body, from your soul, from your mind, from your spirit, that you have to now retrospect, and see what you have failed, where you are not exactly on the path you chose before in your past to be. um, you have to relax one way or another, and if you let destiny decide when it's your time for relaxation, you'll probably at the end not die, because some people are I am on a highway, I am grinding, and at some point, everyone has an end or something like that, but you'll not end this easily on this journey, most probably, of course. But if you end, well, that's problematic if you would like to end like that, but it's not up to me. Still, please don't do that. It's a waste of effort. Why have you grinded so much then when at the end you end up uh, soonly after you have finished your grinding? So it's not a free life, and not in any case scenario. Maybe some will not understand my words, but I really don't care. For me, those are facts, and I can be observing uh, so many cases, so many individuals in their past, that I'm sure for myself at what I'm saying, and I have some proof. And if you are not on the same opinion, well, I'm kind of sorry for you, to be precisely sure. I mean, about that part that you don't really have to die on 30, for example, or 40, because you have been on the highway the whole your life, and you don't even remember what's to be in a different place than the, well, the main highway, with speed faster than the sound, or it doesn't matter how you want to say that, but I bet you understood me. So I mean, it's more efficient to relax at least for a few hours a week. It's the best, for example, at least for an hour a day, to meditate at least for an hour a day. And if it's an hour, it should be only one time, because um, the best meditation is around at least 1 hour. You cannot really meditate if you're trying to meditate, for example, for 20 minutes 3 times a day. It's better to make one big meditation of 1 hour, even if it's for example, before you go to sleep, night time, or when you choose to do that. But better, you'll be more efficient and you progress faster if you learn your lesson and learn how to relax and how to meditate, how to be calm most of the time, and how to calm your mind, body, and all the parts you need to maintain uh, your progress, to stay on your path, the path you chose in the past. And to it's very important to always know, always, it's not the right word, but uh, to know where are you going, and is this the thing you want at this point. Because you may also, for example, you have started moving forward, you have started grinding, and you had some dreams before 10 years, but for example, you had a girlfriend back then, and well, you had some shared dreams, and now you're not with her, you're, for example, with totally different person in your life, and now you're living to accomplish your goals from back then, and you're not even realizing that. And even if you have accomplished them, and even if you are very close at the end, you see that, well, those goals were not so bad. For example, they could be really well, good things for yourself. But well, at the end, you understand that you're actually not wanting to do that at this moment, because well, there were some dreams you had in the past, but you don't have at the present moment. So what have you been grinding those for all those years, when, for example, you would want to do something extremely different from what you have been doing the last 10 years, because you never stood with yourself, never went within your consciousness, never understood that actually those plans, uh, those scheduling were from a different version of yourself, and now you're not that same person. So for example, literally you're not feeling so well now because you have you have some feeling that you have kinda lost your time. Of course, it's not 100% lost, but still you'd choose a different way if you at least one time, for example, have meditated and have retrospected what has happened and why you're going that way. And for example, some of you will say, "Well, that's not possible. That's really impossible. How can one person not think over his actions, his way for 10 whole years?" Well, I know some cases that actually went this way, and after some time, they realize they're trying to accomplish some goals that are not really adequate in their present situation, and they're like, what did I do with my life now? How did I lost so much time with just trying to accomplish something I don't really need now? It's not my priority, and I will rather do so many other things. Literally, maybe uh, for example, nearly everything else than what I was doing, and I was trying to accomplish something that's not very worthy for my present self. I don't feel that I really need that. I actually am confused what happened, etc. So the main task for you is to really try to think that if you have already accomplished the balance between relaxation and work, and if you haven't, you have to try to make this as fast as you can, because it will empower, it will literally uh, grade your whole life experience on a different level, because that's how things work in this dimension, in this world. So that's it for now, and see you soon later.